Ladies and gentlemen, what's chillin'? It's Davis or Howland, and it is 2025, the first week technically, January 7th. It's the evening, and tonight we are going to be ranking my favorite video games of all time. Basically, if you don't know the lore of this, last year, about a couple weeks after this point, I did a 2024 video game tier list update that basically went like 2 hours deep into all the games on my tier list, talked about my favorites, my least favorites, all the in-betweens, and explanations, and just all the history with them. And now that I've got that as a basis, which if you want to see that, that's what this tier list is right here on this tab. So scroll through it. This is basically kind of what I had going into the year, starting January of 2024, as far as like where I thought my favorite games were, my least favorites, and this was my backlog tier, which was kind of games I hoped to play this year. So we'll come back and revisit the backlog, but this all came up because I didn't know if I was going to do another video game tier list, and I figured it's kind of nice to have a year-by-year comparison. Plus, the Steam replay, which is kind of like Spotify Wrapped for video gaming, came out, and I went through it, had some interesting points and data, but I wanted to review the Wrapped or the Steam replay, make some comments, and then update my video game tier list. I spent about 40 minutes just now rapid firing ranking my new tier list, and I'll show that in a bit, but we're going to try and make this as smooth and slippery as possible. So let's go ahead and dive deep in. Now, I'm not going to bother reading this stuff. You can read it if you want. Looks like I played 15 new games. My longest streak was 24 days in a row. March through April went kind of wild there. Smite was my most played game. I'm kind of disappointed by that, but when you add up all the fighting games I played, they 100% beat Smite, because we'll show them, but I'm pretty sure like half my playtime was fighting games. But definitely played a lot of Smite this year, got back into it earlier on, and big into Joust ranked and stuff, so Gilgamesh is my guy. Elden Ring, played this a lot, not so much in the second half of the year. This was like springtime, did a co-op convergence mod playthrough, did a couple of just other playthroughs getting set up for the DLC, and then once Shadow of the Erdtree launched in June, July, something like that, played that for about 2 or 3 weeks, grinded it a ton, and then I pretty much stopped playing Elden Ring. Stopped playing a lot of Souls-likes, to be honest. This year, it was not the year of the Souls-likes. Last year, 2022, 2023, definitely the year of the Souls-likes. 2024, year of the fighting games. Even 2023 was that way too. So we're going to move past. We know I'm above average. Move past all that. You can see, yeah, here's the spread. So a little bit of MOB. All this is Smite. This looks like it's probably, I don't even know what this would be. Black Ops 6 and maybe, yeah, I don't know what that is. Souls-like and then fighting games. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, here you go. Same sort of story, just different view. And yeah, so that's the Steam in review, speed run. Very interesting to see. But getting into the tier list. Now, this isn't scripted, okay? I apologize if I go on rants, and I'm gonna keep it short. The gist is, all these games down here are just duplicates, or like these 2 Pokemon games in Skyrim and Dead Space. Like, I never fucking played these games. I'm never going to, so I don't know why they're on here. Backlogs here, we'll talk about it. Trash, C tier, B tier, A tier. Most of these tiers have not changed. I mean, I had to recreate the list, so the order of the cards is going to be different, but for the most part, this was just knee-jerk reaction, how I feel about everything, and just bottom to top, little opinions. I moved this piece of shit down to trash tier, deservedly so. This game is fucking abomination. No matter how iconic and memorable the playthrough was, of the Ultimate Masochist stream, it it truly is just a sin against humanity what they created there. Demon Souls, worse than Dark Souls 2 because it didn't give me feeling, and it was the first try at it, and so fell flat. Worst Call of Duty, actual poo tier, World War II. And then, yeah, I hate these kind of CSGO, Rainbow Six, like peek around the corner, get one tapped bullshit games. Also, there's like some iPhone or mobile games and apps that were spread throughout this. Besides like a few select ones that I may mention, again, I may have mentioned last year, it's hard to compare. Like me playing on the bus in middle school, a little game of Flappy Bird or Angry Birds, Fruit Ninja. How does that stack against a fully developed, like super crazy experience? It's just hard to compare. So those are kind of also out of order. And Yu-Gi-Oh! I love Yu-Gi-Oh! as a series, as an entity, but the game was dog piss. Anime, Sekiro girl fighting game, played the demo. Any notes here of what I did this year? No. Everything's kind of fallen in place. B tier, I did have some additions, and these could change. Like, if I were to pick between playing Jetpack Joyride Deluxe and Tekken 8 right now, I'm playing Tekken 8. Same thing with Street Fighter 6. It's just happening. Same thing with Suicide Squad. I'm playing literally all the games that came out this year / last year, last couple years, over that. I'm playing it over Wii Sports Resort. I'm playing it over Madden 07. I'm playing it over pretty much every fucking game in this tier list. But if I'm just saying, like, all right, I had so many hours on this on the bus. I played this in my bedroom growing up as a kid. Remembered the soundtrack. Played this at friends' houses. Went popping crazy. Those kind of things like play an impact and a role in the rankings. And so that's why I think that Tekken and Street Fighter fall down. Because, like, Street Fighter 6 was the first Street Fighter I played. And I'm pretty sure I played it last year, or 2023, so I'm not sure why I put it in here. But, yeah, I mean, 20 hours, 15 were spent in the lab, 5 were spent getting my ass pipelined as Jamie, and it's B tier. It is a B tier. I don't like Street Fighter as a fighting game series. It's just not for me. I don't like it. I'm going to have a full fighting games ranked video to talk about all of it, but it's just not for me. And then same thing with Tekken 8. First Tekken game I got into this year, for sure I played it this year. Played one night, couple of chapters in the story, played a little bit of the lab, did some online games. And I like it better than Street Fighter 6. It gives me a deeper thrill, but the legacy of it, the amount of moves and input issues, it's probably not for me. I might go back onto Tekken 8 and it could go higher. Like, I'll give Tekken 8 an A. I prefer it over Street Fighter, a whole tier above it. So I'll give it that. And then, any other updates here? Never finished Blasphemous 2. I know I talked about it last year, but didn't have the inspiration to get back into it. Never finished Armored Core 6. I was really hyped and excited for more FromSoft, but for whatever reason, just something didn't sit right with me. Wolong, still need to finish, but more than halfway through the game. I loved it. I honestly could put it A+ tier. I'll put it A+. Dragon Ball FighterZ, wish I played it in its prime. It would be a higher fighting game for me for sure, but didn't do that. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is the RPG, the latest RPG from this franchise, and I played a decent amount, like 12 hours or so. I was just looking at the old VOD of it when I got to like Seed Bottom, or the second new main hub, and I did the Manargar, whatever that boss was. It took me like 3 hours. So when I was in it and I was trying to play this game and just enjoy the anime soul, or not anime souls, but the anime RPGs, you know me, I was digging it. I was enjoying it, but I, for whatever reason, just did not stick it out, and I probably should. It's an A tier game. I like it. Black Myth Wukong, I know objectively it's one of the best games of the year. A lot of people loved it. I probably would have loved it too if I didn't get burned out on Souls and Souls likes, slash had more interest in fighting games. Um, but it's A. I played 2 sessions, like 6 or 7 hours worth. There's just not enough of a playthrough and experience for me to put it higher. But I did think it started off amazing, the opening cinematic and all that. Monster Hunter World Iceborne, I know this is a hot take as well. Played a lot of it this year, probably 30 hours worth. I got through Iceborne, got through the first master ranks as well, and really there's only, I want to say, 4 or 5 monsters that I haven't fought that are left, and it got better as I played it more and more, and I unlocked more skills and learned more about the combat. And there are some interesting combos and just gameplay with each weapon, but it's nothing like Rise for me. Rise was my first Monster Hunter game. It didn't hit the same. Maybe graphically it's better, but the arcadey, fast-paced, crazy combat and ability to do stuff with like wire bugs and soakbind skills of Rise is way better for me. So I would honestly, I'd give this an A+ though, because I do like Monster Hunter, and the monster designs and world are pretty great. Lords of the Fallen never finished. Devil May Cry 5, need to get into that. I've played it a little bit. I really need to get into that. I need to get into that. Didn't finish Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Didn't finish Bioshock, but they're both an A tier because I think they're good games. Just need to play more. We talked about AOT by Swammy, fan-made game. Love that shit to death, but we all know what it is. That's all it can ever be. What else? Anything new on this tier list? Not much. Oh, I never really picked Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising back up. I started it in December of 22, right? Either December of 22 or December of 23, when it came out originally. And the problem is I picked up Strive pretty much immediately after, and I never went back. So I was into the franchise. You saw me play the RPG, but Strive is just slightly better as an anime fighter to me. And so I still would give it A. If I put in more than the 12 hours I have over the last year and a half, I would probably have it higher. But because I barely have played it, touched it, I can't give it anything else more right now. And then getting into A+ tier, couple of heavy hitters came out that I'm going to talk about. Gosh, this video is going to be longer than I expected. Anyways, Marvel Rivals is the talk of the town right now. Came out last month or so, and Season 1 just got announced with the Fantastic Four. This game, unlike Overwatch, it actually hooked me. It's the first time what do you call them, hero shooters? Like, I guess Smite is somewhat around that, but it's not really that. It's a MOBA. And this was the first hero shooter, from my knowledge, that I really got into. I already have about 25 hours after only playing for a couple of weeks, and I'm pretty into it. I think there's a lot of balancing changes that need to happen. Hela needs to go away. Hawkeye needs to go away. They need to buff some tanks. They need to give me some other MCU characters that I fuck with. But the memes, the Iron Man memes, they're comedy gold, and just the care and detail and fan feeling that you get of playing this game is phenomenal. And so I love it. I just think that there's a couple of changes that need to be made and some more content, and we'll be golden. But it could be kind of my new Smite. It really could. Wolong, never finished Remnant 2 or Wolong, but very high up there, like almost beat both games. I think they're A+ experiences. Lies of Peace, same thing. Like, that's why they're all kind of around here. Souls likes, Souls similars, and played through at least 70% of each. Enjoyed them. Lies of P got too hard for me, and the Archbishop just ruined me. Yeah. What else? Anything of note? I got all the I got FIFA and NBA Street up here and A plus. I mean, those are just classic GameCube street sport games. Loved them. The soundtracks are amazing. The ragdolling effects of everything in the game is amazing. This was playing on the iPad as a kid. Zombies. Did I touch on the Call of Duties up here? I didn't do it, but like after you would touch on World War II at the very bottom, I moved COD 4 and World at War down to B tier just because like I didn't grow up on these games. I played COD 4 remastered when IW released for a month or so, and I did not like the power positions, how slow it felt. Everything was just M16 and nade spots. And World at War is great. The zombies aesthetic and the nightmare of playing zombies is incredible, but I didn't grow up on it. The zombie maps that I did play were in the app version, so I didn't even play it on the actual game. And now that I have played a lot more zombies, even though those maps are iconic, they don't have the same sauce and content that other maps do. So that's why these two are lower. And then these CODs are an A tier just as like average for different reasons. I honestly could put Black Ops lower. Once again, the maps, I've played all the Black Ops Zombies maps and DLC, and besides Moon, not that impressive. I didn't like sniping in multiplayer. The multiplayer maps were, I'm not going to say phenomenal or incredible, I'm going to say tremendous. And there's some gunplay that works, but overall, I prefer newer CODs as opposed to this one. So we're going to do that. And then Modern Warfare, as much as I dogged on this game when it released and when I played it in college, it's okay looking back. It was the first LAN that I went to as well. Also, NFL Street, yeah, that's fine, putting it down there. Didn't touch on Injustice, but this is the reason why it's only A tier is because this is like the console version. And I played the app Injustice way more. But anyways, we gotta move on. We gotta move on. So what else? What else is in here? We've got Halos. I mean, I like Halo as a series, as a franchise. Call of Duty's more my style, but I still love FPS games. And Halo 4 was my most played. Halo Reach I played in elementary school. I shared that story before. Yeah, if you want a more energetic, more prepared video on all these games and my experiences and reasonings, go watch the last one I did. But this one is mainly just an update to the last one. So that's kind of why I'm rushing through it. But getting into, so here we go. This is a game I played this year. I don't think we talked about it in the recap or the replay. Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, a lot of people praise this game. They say it's one of the best, including Aiden. And so he convinced me, I convinced myself to finally try a run at it, and it's A+ tier. As a game that I haven't fully finished, keep in mind I've played about 14 hours. I'm on the third chapter, like the heart of the third chapter, so I'm 25, I'm a quarter of the way through the game, and I'd say the best parts of this game, besides me just talking and saying feller and getting all cowboy and southern on people, besides just transforming me, I love the GTA Rockstar feel I get of ragdolling NPCs around, murdering a whole town and having the cops called on me and having to escape the law. Like, that shit is the best part. My favorite moments and clips I've got are when I'm randomly riding around on my horse and I accidentally run over a guy going 20 miles an hour and he dies. And then I'm laughing about it. And someone watches it and now they're a suspect, or I'm get a witness. Now I got to kill that guy, and then it just escalates and it just gets better. Combat's weak. Horse riding's weak. I would even say the story is weak. And I know that I'm going to get some massive dislikes for saying that, but it isn't slapping as hard as I thought it would in 12 hours, and I get that it's a slower burn, it's more immersive. Think about the world building and being in the times. And I know that the last chapter and the ending and the conclusion to it all is really where you're going to get a lot of payoff. So I'm missing it right now. But as it stands, it's an A+ tier game. It just is. It doesn't have the octane or the fantasy of an anime fantasy world or like a Witcher that I'm wanting. It's more grounded, more realistic, and yeah, nothing's really selling me right now. But I've enjoyed aspects to it for sure. And I wanted to slide it by putting Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy above it, because I played through that entire game and I loved that entire game. That's where my head's at with it. Honestly, that's going below it too. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I gave a decent segment to Final Fantasy VII Remake last year, and I'm not going to give it the same praise this time around. I continued it. I want to say I was a few chapters in when I was first talking about this one. And I played up through chapter 10 or 11. I played to where Reddit told me was the best chapter. And you know what the best chapter of this game is supposedly? It is when you go to some bee-themed strip club with a bunch of bee, like stinger outfit girls, and you dance. You press buttons, and Cloud just starts breakdancing. And it is the most, I don't want to say cringe, because as an anime fan, as someone who gets into that kind of stuff, can be creative, have some fun and imagination, I don't want to disrespect it. But it didn't hit for me. And I think maybe it's like my expectations of the game and the story and everything that made me disappointed in it. But once I did that chapter and that part of the story, and that was the peak apparently, or maybe the second highest peak, I haven't finished it. The gameplay's not that fun for me. Once you get into it and you're rotating your team and optimizing the different elements and stuff, it's okay. It's pretty fun. But in general, not being able to heal or parry or dodge and the Souls combat way feels bad. And the story, while it's pretty good, it ain't the best. Just like RDR2. And then rounding out the A+ tier, Dark Souls 1, the original Masochist Dream. So many, just like Dark Souls 2, you can these are brothers to each other. A lot of lows, a lot of just pain and suffering and misery. And I lost a lot of years off my life, a lot of hair. I mean, I still have a full head of hair, but some strands fell out during this playthrough. And as much as I hated this one, the boss quality's better. I mean, honestly, Dark Souls 2 does have Fu Knight and Sir Alon, so I can't exactly discredit that. Like, maybe it doesn't deserve trash, but it's staying there. Dark Souls 1 is better for a bunch of different reasons, and I'm going to keep it an A+. But, yeah. Alright, so I have not, just as like an FYI, which I know I keep back and forthing here, but A+ and down, I just did this. I just dragged it up there. I did not order it, did not think about the order. They kind of just all fall within that tier. S and SS are more organized, more so SS, because I'm very, very critical on that one. But with S tier, honestly, I'm not going to really organize these either. We'll just talk about the ones that I feel like. Smite 2, the alpha/beta has been being worked on for the last 6 months, and I finally gave it a try a couple weekends back, and it's looking promising. I wouldn't say that I prefer it over Smite 1 right now, just because it only has so many gods. Like Smite 1 still has 130 gods compared to 30 or 40 in Smite 2. There's a lot of lack of content and skins and all of that. And so mainly Joust. Joust is missing. But in the next week, I'm pretty sure the January 13th, 14th weekend, they're going to be doing a big update making it free to play, so everyone's going to be getting into Smite 2, and kind of moving over from Smite 1. Euler, my favorite god's coming in. They're adding Aladdin, which could potentially be my favorite god of all time, the way that I've seen how crazy his kit is. They're adding the Joust map in mode, which the Joust map, I don't want to say it, but I want to say it's the best looking Joust map we've ever had. And that alone makes me want to grind Joust, grind this game. And then there's a whole bunch of other gameplay details like aspects, which basically allow you to change your gods from maybe Loki becomes a tank or Ra becomes a tank / support and stuff like that. So that'll change a lot of the gameplay and how gods feel. Plus just constantly improving the game and adding gods means that it's going to have me hooked. I don't know if it's going to keep me as addicted and as grindy as I was with Smite 1 at different points in my life, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. Black Ops 6 has got to be one of the talks of the towns as well. It has a lot going for it. It's the first COD that brought me back since, Cold War? And even then, I didn't play that much Cold War. So it's been 2 or 3 years. I skipped Modern Warfare 3 for the most part. Like the new Modern Warfare 3. I skipped the new Modern Warfare 2. I skipped whatever other Modern Warfare there was. It's been at least 3 years. And so this game got me back on. I love the combat. I love the Omni movement. The worst part when I first was playing, and I still agree, is the maps. Maps are fucking terrible. Multiplayer is a drag. Rank play, because the maps sucks. Plus hackers ruins the game. But the best part about Black Ops 6 and how much of a movement it made is zombies. Because this is probably the best zombies game we've had, definitely in years. And besides like a couple of Black Ops 4 maps specifically, it's up there with like Black Ops 3 in terms of just my zombies map ranking. The gameplay and the systems that they have in zombies and Black Ops 6 are insane. And I mean, I have a zombies tier list where we rank maps and talk about the games, so you can kind of listen more there. But yeah, the zombies alone is what puts this in S tier for me. Terminus was launch map, which was one of my favorite maps now, favorite boss fights as well. And then we just had the Citadel Day More DLC 1, which was also great. So I'm excited to see where they keep going with the story and the mode, but it's a game changer for me because I never played, Cold War? I didn't play Cold War Zombies, so I know they brought a mix of Cold War and Black Ops 3 systems in here, but it's a perfect blend of both, and yeah, it's phenomenal. Witcher 3, this is one of those like very most recent ones. I played it at the very end of December for a weekend, and I need to get back into it. I'm about 8 hours deep. And what can I say about The Witcher 3? I've tried it before, a year and a half, 2 years ago. I tried it once, tried it again for a weekend. But this time I've played more than I ever have. And I'm committed. I'm committed to fully playing this game and its content, DLC. I have it here as S tier, no particular order, as what I'm feeling about it. I'm slowly getting immersed in the story and the world. It's fantasy. It's got magic and cool visuals and cities and NPCs and stuff that's just getting me all excited. And so I could really see me playing this game for the next 50, 60 hours and fully diving in. And if I do, and I fully complete the game, and I love all the bosses and the conclusion, I might put it in SS. It could go there. But for now, I'm going to be safe and put it in S tier. And I do prefer Witcher over Red Dead, because I have, in the last couple months, been debating between which one to play. Obviously, I've played a little bit of both now, but Witcher is better to me. Spider-Man 2 we talked about last year. Awesome game. S tier. Could be SS. Played it all the way through. Loved every minute of it. These are some recent changes here. So before I had MK1 and MK11 in SS tier. And even though I have 460 hours on MK11, 360 something on MK1, more hours on these games than almost every game I have on this list. They are going in S tier for me. And that's because I've played MKX now. And because I've had time to play other fighting games and time to let the recency bias sink in. And so as much hype and enjoyment I had with MK1 for it being a new game, the first fighting game I was really in on at the beginning and all of that, it just doesn't always feel good. The cameo system, same thing, just doesn't feel right. There's a lot of issues that I think I overlooked and just pretended weren't there for MK1 that are kind of a no-go for me. There are some mechanics that are nice quality of life mechanics. I love up block. I love flawless blocking and the chip damage avoidance and whatever else. But I'm not a huge fan of the roster. I barely have anyone I main besides Johnny and Sub-Zero cameo and Rain. So it's fallen for me. It's still S tier. It's still one of my favorite games. Like, I could put it top of S. It doesn't really matter. It's an S tier quality game for me. But it's definitely fallen from like being a top 10 game of all time. And then MK11, just same story. MK11's got more value because it was like my first real fighting game that I tried to learn and get involved and just suck up all the knowledge and get good at. And so most hours, just most gods I've tried, or most characters and all that, but it's S tier. I mean, it could be lower objectively as a fighting game. Gameplay wise, it's definitely behind MK1, so I guess I'd do that. But yeah, these two are S tier. And then anything else new in this tier? I know I'm skipping S tier pretty quickly. Yeah, I mean, that's about it for S tier. Obviously, Bloodborne and Sekiro at the top of S. They're teetering on SS tier. You could put them up there. I wouldn't mind it. But these two are my second favorites, tied for second favorite Souls game. Getting into the SS tier, I have not ordered this, and I don't know if I have it in me to do it. So let's just see here. I would still say Elden Ring is number one. It is the GOAT for me. How magical the first playthrough was. The fact that I've played like 15 goddamn playthroughs of this game since then. It's my most hours on any Souls game. I have over like 500 hours. The immersion, the just transformation that it put me through to try all these RPGs and Souls games cannot be understated. The soundtrack, the bosses, the story, it's goated. It's my favorite game of all time. Minecraft is going to go lower. Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4, I would put Black Ops 3 above Black Ops 4 and above Black Ops 2, but 2, 3, and 4 of Black Ops were perfect. You can tell I'm a Treyarch guy. I prefer these kind of games over the Infinity Ward and Sledgehammers, but Black Ops 2 was really where I got into COD and got into the competitive scene, playing pubs and a little bit of zombies. That was my thing. Black Ops 3 was probably peak community for me, just with all the friends that were playing and grinding competitive, and the maps, the score streaks, the gunplay, and the zombies. I mean, all those things make Black Ops 3 my favorite Call of Duty. Plus, recently we did like a month of Zombies grind. I played Garad Crovey for the first time, or beat the Easter egg for the first time. Did a bunch of Der Eisendrache, and it has custom Zombies maps too, which changes the game. Like Leviathan's my favorite favorite Zombies map of all time now. Shadows of Evil. It just has my favorite Zombies maps, and the custom Zombies also just adds a point to it already being a 10 out of 10. And jetpack movement, it was the crescendo of all that. Black Ops 4, my most competitive game, my best performing game. Like, this was the best I've ever been at COD, and I loved the stem system. I loved the 150 health, how the shot punching mechanic worked, the maps. I can see now if you were playing 4v4 or 5v5, you might not like it as much. But as a 3v3 player, it was peak. The quality of competition in 3v3 mode, or I don't know why I'm saying it like that, but like in 3v3 GBs was just the best. And love the maps too. I didn't talk about Ghost, but Ghost is whoa. Let's let's do this. Even though these CODs are in the same tier, there needs to be a distinction. Ghost is above those. The impact it had on my life, the stories and memories of ninth grade, staying up, pretending to be asleep and getting back up, just cranking Red Bulls back, playing a bunch of GBs. The S&D scene in this game was goated. The maps were goated. I loved Ghost. And then IW above AW, just because I loved zombies in IW. Zombies in Spaceland's amazing, and some other reasons. But yeah. So yeah, those are the CODs to touch on all them. GTA 5, I mean, what's there to say? It's GTA 5. It's got to be up there. Strikers, my favorite Mario/GameCube game of all time. It is the ultimate competition, the ultimate LAN party fun game where shit just hits the fan. Everything goes crazy in this game. The tech, just the skill you can actually have in a game this old is insane. Borderlands 2, my favorite Borderlands game. I didn't touch on the other two, but like Borderlands 3 gameplay wise is above the pre-sequel, but the atmosphere of the pre-sequel and certain features like the moonscaper jump glitches or jump tech where you can fly across the map, just the floaty nature of the game, and thematically the laser weapons and stuff, it hits harder for me. But more content in Black Ops or Borderlands 3, and overall better gameplay, more guns, more everything. But they're right next to each other. They're both S, could be SS. But Borderlands 2, best story. Also Borderlands pre-sequel has a good story, but yeah, best story in Borderlands 2. The perfect balance of a lot of things, and it's a goated game for me. RuneScape, my goated MMORPG, if I'm saying that right. Smite, we talked about. I would put Smite higher, like maybe that. Maybe Smite would be top 3. I'll have to think on it. That's where it gets difficult, right there. I'm gonna put Rise in second. I won't bother repeating what I said last year, but Rise was my first introduction to the Monster Hunter series, and you only get your first Monster Hunter game. The shock value of what RPGs are, it's not even an RPG, ARPG or whatever classification you want to call it. The shock of it and the gameplay and the gameplay loop of farming and getting materials and then getting skills on your weapons and unlocking better gear and weapons and all the monsters, all the memories, like all the hours. This game, yeah, it's number 2. Fortnite is still an SS tier, I think, for what it did, how it exploded the battle royale genre, how addicted I was to it. It's got to stay up here. Minecraft had to be up here. It's an all-timer. The differences, I would say, I'll put RuneScape at the bottom. I recently played Final Fantasy 16 again because I played it around Christmas time of 2022 or 2023. So it's been over a year since I first started. I played like a week or two straight, and then they announced the DLCs of Echoes of the Fallen and Rising Tide, and so I had plans to play them this year. And every month I was saying, every weekend I'd be like, I'm going to play it. For whatever reason, I put it off until literally this last weekend. And so I finally finished both Echoes of the Fallen and the Rising Tide, which aren't the same way that Shadow of the Erdtree was. It's not a standalone DLC to where it's like its own game. The Leviathan fight is my second favorite. It's right there with Bahamut. That's one of my favorite boss fights of all time. Just so cinematic, so epic. And I love the theme of just the rising tide, the blue skies, the world that it created. Echoes of the Fallen was a great dungeon. So once again, Final Fantasy 16 absolutely slapped. It is one of my favorite single player games I've ever gone through. I'm going to separate Black Ops 2 from these guys and leave it like that. And the Jedi Survivor I'm going to put right behind Final Fantasy 16. I would probably play Jedi Survivor more than 16 as far as replayability, but just the playthroughs of each were so magical in their own ways. The comedy, the fun factor of Jedi Survivor and Cal and being in a Star Wars world versus the epicness and the fantasy and world building of 16 and the dialogue and all that. They're both so incredible for different reasons, and they're some of my favorite single player. If you look at it, if you kind of discount Elden Ring, these are my favorite single player games I've ever played. And that's not saying too much because I don't play a lot of single player games that are made that way, but yeah, those are my favorites. And then the last two to discuss in the SS tier that have made changes are Guilty Gear Strive and MKX. Yes, recency bias, whatever. But I played Strive, it'll be close to a year now, and I've been playing X for months. These two games are goated. They are my favorite fighting games. This MKX is my favorite NRS game. It has the best roster. I've played more characters on MKX or tried them, wanted to learn them and get creative with them than any other roster I've played on an NRS game. I love the pace, the aggression, the fucking octane, and just craziness of MKX. Bo Raicho is hilarious. One of my favorite. I have so many, like, Spectral Ermac is one of my favorite fighting game characters of all time. Bo Raicho, same thing. Gunslinger Aaron Black, Johnny Cage A-list. Just so many fucking fantastic fighters, and the gameplay is addicting. It's so fast, so great. The stages, the pit. I mean, it's my favorite NRS game and my second favorite fighting game of all time. And Strive is number one. Who knew I would love an anime fighter? Probably me. It has the best gameplay. The mechanics of Roman cancels and everything else is perfect. Happy Chaos is my favorite fighting game character of all time. I've been getting into Johnny a lot lately. I want to try Axel. It is the best fighting game I've ever played, and I'm excited to see what the next MK and the next Guilty Gear game are going to be. Whether it's Injustice 3 and Guilty Gear Strive 2, whatever it is, I'll be there. So, that is the not so speedy speed run of my new tier list for my favorite video games, or all my video games that I've played. The last thing I want to talk about real quick is just the backlog. So if we look here at the difference, just to once again recap, you can see the differences in the SS tier and the S tier. But the backlog, I mean, I didn't touch Rebirth because I never finished 7 Remake, and it might still be in the works. Didn't touch Cyberpunk, still on the board. Didn't touch Dragon's Dogma, not going to be touching anymore. Still need to do Ragnarok. Did I have this in the backlog? Well, I played it. Still need to play Neo. Might play Bolt Gun. In progress with Witcher. Still might play the Yakuza games and all of these. Did not play Rise of the Ronin, and I probably won't. Same thing with these two games. And then Black Myth Wukong, tried a little bit. Mario Odyssey, just need to get into. So you can see I had some ambitions in the backlog of last year that did not come to fruition. This year, besides the ongoing games, the Call of Duties, the fighting games that are already out, I want to try and play a couple of other games. I want to play Code Vein, the anime Souls-like. I want to play Cyberpunk and God of War, both God of Wars. Get into Neo, like Neo and Code Vein, and where is it? First, Berserker Kazan. And I guess Elden Ring, Night Ring. Those are kind of my like Souls-likes I want to adventure out to this year. I'm really, really stoked to be trying those games out. and getting through them, because it's been a few months, been a minute since I've really done a Souls-like or that kind of game. What else? Doom. I have it up here just as like maybe I want to try the old Doom before I play my first Doom game, Doom: The Dark Ages this year. Obviously, Borderlands 4 I'm playing the fuck out of. GTA 6 I'm playing. Outer Worlds 2 is a weird game that I'm wanting to try. It just caught my eye at the Game Awards. And then Wilds I'm playing for sure. And oh wow, I messed up on that. Well, let's just finish this out real quick. Elden Ring, Night Ring, we know we're playing. Fatal Fury, we're going to try out. 2XKO could be the best fighting game of all time if the 2v2 mode, playing with friends, works out. And yeah. So then last piece, which it's not really a way to end it on, but I did play Dragon Ball Sparking Zero as well. And I do love Dragon Ball as a franchise. This game took me back to childhood, but as a fighting game, it does not have the same, I guess, feeling, mechanics, and gameplay that I'm looking for in a fighting game. It's fun. It's got a lot of class and character, and the memes, the just busted raw shit of a bunch of characters is great. I'm gonna give it an A+. Probably lower just because I didn't play it as much as these. Yeah. So that is my 2025. Really, it should be 2024 update, but we're going to call it the 2025 video game tier list update of all the games I played last year. That was my Steam replay, my backlog of games that I'm anticipating and wanting to play this year. I'm looking forward to it all. I appreciate you guys for sticking around and listening. If you enjoyed, let me know. Let me know on some of the takes, how you felt, and